Jane students, today we are going to study Part B Microeconomics, Unit 7 Forms of Market and Price Determination under Perfect Competition with Simple Application Part 2 video. So in the question form we can study the remaining portions. How is equilibrium price, market price determined under perfect competition with the use of diagram that we are going to see here. Determination of equilibrium price under perfect market price of a commodity determined by interaction of market demand and market supply at price at which demand is equal to supply. Market demand and market supply are the two forces which interact in such a way as to arrive at a price at which quantity demanded becomes equal to quantity supplied. This is called market equilibrium price. Market demand, as you had studied earlier, it refers to the sum total of demand for a commodity by all the buyers in the market. So market supply it refers to the total supply of a commodity by all the firms in the market. So in the demand side, as we know that in price, when it increases, the demand decreases, and so demand always depends upon the consumer's willing. So next is supply side. Supply side, as you know that producer is mainly in by detecting the supply side, we can say the producer is having main role in that. So when what is the condition here? When price increases, producer will be willing to sell more as he is having a profit motive, and when price decreases, he will be selling less. That is the state of market supply. So see, equilibrium between demand and supply that we have to see here. So equilibrium is achieved when at the price quantity demanded of the commodity becomes exactly equal to the quantity supplied in the market. So when a particular price is being determined, that when the producer as well as the consumer gets his satisfaction, that is known as the equilibrium level of price. So that's the when the quantity demanded is equal to quantity supplied. So that is market demand is equal to market supply. This situation is called market equilibrium, wherein the price is called equilibrium price and the quantity is termed as equilibrium quantity. Diagrammatically, equilibrium price is determined at a point where market demand curve and market supply curve intersect each other. The above process has been illustrated with the help of the following imaginary market demand and market supply schedule of oranges at different prices, assuming the wholesale market for oranges in perfectly competitive market. So in this condition, you have to just think of the selling of oranges. There are different firms, they are selling oranges. So we have to take together the demand as well as the supply. So the demand from the demand from the consumers and the supply from the different firms. So that will be intersecting. That is, at a particular price, the demand and the supply will be intersecting, or they are mostly satisfied in a particular price. That we are going to study with a particular schedule and a diagram. So here is price 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. So demand, as you know, always know that at a higher price, the quantity demanded will be decreasing, and in the supply side it will be increasing. So the quantity demanded becomes 200 at a 50, and at 40 price it becomes 400, little bit increased, and at a 30 price it is 600, and 20 price it's 800, and 10 it's 1000. So it's in the reverse order here, supply for dozen of oranges. So here he is supplying 1000 at 50 price, and 40 800, and 30 600, 20, 400, 10, 200. So in the first two situations we can say that the demand is less than supply, or the supply is greater. Okay, so the supply is greater than the demand. The supply is greater than the demand. So it's greater. So we can say it as excess supply. So both the demand and supply are at an equilibrium level. That is, both have been supplied and demanded 600 units. So at a price 30. So it's a equilibrium price. Okay. So next, equilibrium price and quantity demanded and supplied. Okay. So next is 20. At 20 price we can see that 800 is demanded and 400 is supply, and 10 is 1000 and 200 is supply. So here we can say that demand is greater than the supply. So here it's a excess demand. So let's see with the help of the graph. So this is plotted price. The y-axis shows the price and x-axis shows the quantity demanded and supplied. So here you can see that at this level, that is, the demand curve is D and supply curve is S. So at 40 level we are drawing a extended line and it touches the supply curve. So you can see that supply curve is aside the demand curve. So it's a greater. So here there is excess supply. Then here we can see that again we are extending from 20. That's from there we find the excess demand. So we are extending from there and we can say that demand curve is aside the supply curve. So here excess demand occurs. So both are at equilibrium at a price 30 rupees 30, and both the intersect the quantity demanded and supplied is at 600. So this is the diagram for the corresponding schedule. So in the above schedule there is one price at which market demand is equal to market supply. This price is rupees 30 per dozen, because at this price quantity demanded is equal to quantity supplied. That is 600 dozens of oranges. Thus, equilibrium price will be determined at rupees 30 per dozen. Any other higher or lower price will not be equilibrium price, because if price is rupees 40, there is excess supply, and if price is at rupees 20, there is excess demand. So only the price at rupees 30 we can fix the equilibrium price, and the quantity demanded is 600 and supplied is 600. So this is the equilibrium point. So just to know the equilibrium point, mark it as E. So okay. So next important question from the same chapter is, what is price ceiling? Explain its implications. In a freely functioning market, equilibrium price of a commodity is determined by market forces of demand and supply without any interference by the government. So government will not interfere both as a demand, how much demanded and how much supplied. Both have equal satisfaction, consumer as well as producer. So producer will be having his profitable price. So the consumer may also be having a profitable price. So for that the price will be fixed. So this is without interference of the government, freely market functions. But sometimes equilibrium price so determined is too high for the consumer or too low, that is unprofitable for the producer of the commodity. So in a certain condition there arise, the consumer may feel that the price is so high, and the producer may feel that the price is unprofitable or low. In such condition government interferes. So when government fixes upper limit on the price of a good or service above which producer cannot charge for a particular good or service, it is termed as price ceiling. So just keep in mind that price ceiling means in the side of consumer. So here government will be fixing a price favoring the consumer. So here the government will be always fixing the price below the equilibrium level. So that producer will not like that, and they will be forced to follow the price. So that is in the government is in the side of the consumer. So when the government fixes upper limit on price of a commodity lower than the equilibrium, it is called a price ceiling. So producers cannot sell their products above the price. That is, it is the maximum price of a commodity that can be charged by a seller. So this is done so that essential goods become available to the common people at affordable price. So now we can just say the present example, that is, if the mask that we are using during corona time, so if it is unavailable at a minimum price, so it is very needy thing. So it's when it is charged a higher price, and which where it is not available, so government interferes, and government will fix the price at a lower rate, and it will be made affordable price for the consumer or common people. So that is price ceiling. So just see the implication with the help of a graph. So since maximum price ceiling is lower the equilibrium price, it leads to excess demand and short supply. So at the lower equilibrium level price, the lower than the equilibrium level price, the consumer will be ready to buy, and there will be excess demand, and but in the other side, the producer will not be ready to sell, so it will be short of supply. Okay, so in the figure, so just see the figure. This is both applicable to this and next topic also. Just see. So you can just you need this, that is, what is the below level of this equilibrium level, that is 20. At 20 price you need. So just see, suppose equilibrium price of sugar, if we know that it is needy thing for us. So suppose equilibrium price of sugar is a free market, in a free market is rupees 30 per kg. So in a free market it is rupees 30 per kg, or OQ quantity is supplied at 30 rupees. Okay, so when government fixes price at rupees 20 per kg, or OP1, you can see that OP1, demand for sugar rises to 80 tons. So demand will be rising to, from 60 it will be rising to 80 tons. That is OQ2 quantity will be demanded. Okay, so here you can see that the touching line of the demand, that is drawn perpendicular to the x-axis, so that is demand. Okay, so and supply falls short of demand, that is as shown by the line BA. So you can say that supply becomes shorter to BA. Okay, so if it is in demand, it is not met as per the demand, the quantity supplied is not met, as the producer will not be getting what profit from that. So he will not be ready to sell as much as the demand. So the supply will be coming short. So it's a, you can see that the touching line of the supply curve, which is drawn perpendicular to x-axis, it is a 40. So it becomes OQ1, the quantity supplied, so it's 40. It is becoming shortage of supply, as the demand is high, the supply cannot meet the consumer demand, the quantity supplied is less. Next question is, what is price floor? Explain its implication. When government sets minimum price for certain goods and services, this price is called the minimum price ceiling, or it is also known as what, a price floor. So this is normally set at a level higher than the equilibrium price. When government fixes lower limit on price of a particular commodity higher than the equilibrium price, it is called the price floor, or support price. Floor means lowest limit. It is the minimum price that producers must be paid for their product. It leads to more supply and shortage of demand. So in this situation, the government is inside of whom? The producer. So he always the government fixes the price above the equilibrium level. Then only the producer will get the profit. So it is the price which is fixed above the equilibrium point. So it's a equilibrium price. So when the government fixes lower limit, that is a limit which is to be fixed and which is understandable, that is lower limit on price of a particular commodity is higher than the equilibrium price. It is known as what? Price floor or support price. Support price for the producers. So it's known as what? It is lowest limit. So implication or effects: price floor being higher than the equilibrium price leads to excess supply. It is minimum price fixed by the government. So it's a higher than the equilibrium price leads to excess supply, and it is minimum price fixed by the government. So with the help of the previous graph, we can explain the thing. So suppose government fixes price of a sugar at 40 per kg or P2. So here the government is fixing the price above the equilibrium level, that is P2 at 40 rupees. So in that case, the demand is for 40 tons. So in that case, what is the demand? It is only, you can say that the intersection line, that the coming line that is to be drawn touching the demand curve D, and we have to draw perpendicular downwards. You can see Q1 is equal to 40 is given. This quantity demanded is 40, and the simultaneous line, that is C, which is touching the supply curve. So you can see the perpendicular drawn. So you can see the quantity supplied is Q3, it's 80 though. So at the present price, that is 40, which has been fixed by the government, which is above the equilibrium point E. So the that is at first it was 30, then the government think of the producer side, and he fixes the rate price at 40. At this level, the producer is ready to supply at 80 quantity, but the demand is decreasing here. So as price increases, demand decreases. So demand is, you can see the demand curve touching, and you can see the quantity demanded is only 40 tons. So here OQ1. So whereas supply at this price is 80 tons or OQ2, creating disequilibrium or surplus of 40, that is 80 minus 40. So 40 is the additional amount. So at this is shown additional 40 tons is extra, that is supply. In supply, in the market condition, you can see that previously we had studied the consumer side. So in that stage, the consumer is willing to buy more things, but the producer is not willing to sell the product at a lesser rate. So in this situation, in the producer side, government thinks, and he fixes the rate at 40 rupees, but it is higher than the equilibrium point. So the consumer is not ready to buy it, and the producer is ready to supply 80 units, and this 40 units is surplus. Okay, so 80 minus 40, it's a 40 tons is surplus. So this is shown as surplus line DC. You can see the surplus line DC, and in such a situation, government may purchase larger amount of excess supply of sugar at its fixed price to protect the interest of the producer like farmers. So at this stage, government will buy the products from the farmers. So for what? For giving assistance for the farmers, helping the farmers, and sometimes government will be
distributing it through public distribution system or through ration shops. So the consequence of a support price is that consumers have to pay higher price for the good. So moreover, income of the farmers the producers goes up. So in this situation, the producer is more benefited. So by this, we can conclude the chapter. So in this chapter, as per your syllabus, only this much is to be studied. If you have any doubt, please ask me.
Thank you, students. Thank you.